Before we start, I want to share something with you. Every time I read the Bible, I don't just read it. I pause and I ask, Lord, is there something you want to tell me? Is there a word or a phrase that you want to highlight? Because the Bible is not a book written to sound beautiful or to fill pages. It's not a collection of words added for effect. Every word carries weight. Every phrase holds meaning. There's intention, there is symbolism, and there's revelation. And when we slow down enough to notice it, God begins to speak in the details. So as I was reading 1 Samuel 3, something really stayed with me. It says that Eli's eyes had become so weak that he could barely see. And I just paused there because I started wondering, what if that's not just physical? Like, what if spiritually our eyes can also become weak? You know, like we're still there. We still love God. We're still doing things for him, but something isn't as sharp anymore. Something isn't as sensitive. And then I thought, have my eyes become weak in certain areas? Because when our spiritual eyes begin to dull, we start allowing things we wouldn't have allowed before. We start making decisions that don't fully align. We stop discerning clearly. And what's scary is that it doesn't happen all at once. It's little by little, quiet, almost unnoticeable. Just like Eli, he was still in the temple, still in position, but no longer seeing clearly. And then there's another detail. It says that the lamp of God had not yet gone out. And that touched me deeply because it means that even in that moment of Eli's life, God's presence was still there. The light was still on. It hadn't gone out yet. And I feel like that's a word for someone, maybe even for myself. That even if you feel like your eyes are tired, even if something feels dim inside, the lamp hasn't gone out. It doesn't matter what age you are, God is still there. He's still speaking. He's still calling. And then it says something else. Samuel did not yet know the Lord. And I found that interesting because he was in the house of God serving, but hadn't yet recognized his voice. And I was like, how many times can we be around God, serving in the church, but not yet truly know how he speaks? And when God calls Samuel, Samuel runs to Eli because he didn't yet recognize the voice. And honestly, I feel we do the same thing too. God speaks, we run to people. God calls, and we look for human confirmation. Until finally, Samuel learns to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And I feel like that's the posture God is inviting us into. With this new project we started with my husband, I was waiting for spiritual leaders to confirm that God had put this in our hearts. And I am blessed enough to say that I'm surrounded by authentic spiritual leaders in my family. And I was waiting for that validation because stepping into calling is not like choosing a career or opening a business. It's being a vessel of God's word. And that scared me. But in my alone time, God whispered something so powerful. He said, "You know where this came from because you have sat with me in intimacy." And he's been leading me, not into confusion, not running everywhere, but stillness, listening, recognition. And then there's that moment when it says that the Lord came and stood there. And I don't think that means physically like we imagine, but it shows something powerful, the nearness of God. This wasn't distant. This wasn't vague. God was close. He was present, and he still is. And then there's Eli, and I'm not going to lie, when I read it, I was like, why are you being so harsh with Samuel? Because he told him, in my words, he said, "Tell me what God told you. Tell me everything. And if you don't, whatever he said is going to go back to you." So he was kind of like threatening the kid. And I felt like God showed me something there. Eli had the authority, but he didn't use it where it mattered most. He didn't correct his sons, but here he's being strong with Samuel. And it made me reflect. Are there areas in my life where I'm being passive and others where I'm being too strong? And then when Samuel tells him everything, Eli responds with, "He's the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." And at first, it almost feels like resignation, like no fight left, no intercession, just acceptancy. And that honestly shook me because I don't want to get to a place where I hear God's correction and I just settle into it without contending, without asking God, is there still mercy left here for me? And I feel like the invitation in all of this is, God, keep my eyes sharp. Keep my heart sensitive. Don't let me get used to your presence without truly seeing. Don't let me be in position but disconnected in the spirit. And teach me to recognize your voice, not just hear it, but to know it. Because I don't want a dim walk with you. I want clarity. I want fire. I want intimacy. So maybe today that's the question. Have my eyes become weak? And if they have, God is so kind to restore sight. The lamp hasn't gone out and he's still calling your name. You know, growing older is part of life. Our bodies change, our senses may weaken, our hair gets white. But our spiritual eyes, they were never meant to grow dim. They were meant to grow sharper, clearer, more discerning. So let your age, whether you're 12 or 85, and every season you walk through, not be a sign of decline, but a testimony of a deeper vision. God bless you.